Hi, Guido Fox here. Welcome by a new book report. Today I want to talk with you about I Hate You, Don't Love Me, Understanding the Borderline or Personal Disorder. So another book about the BPS disorder, very interesting field of knowledge from my case about my past experiences with women with the personal disorder. So I know a bit about these symptoms, about these disorders, and I want to talk with you about this wonderful book. It is 300 pages about the personal disorder borderlining, understanding the borderline personality. Difficult, complex disorder and not easy to recognize on the first time or the first weeks when you're in love with this kind of person. So it costs sometimes half a year or a year. You think, okay, what's this kind of behaviors? And then you're going online and you're searching and you see my articles or my videos. Like, hey, this guy or this woman has the borderliner disease. So you recognize some patterns there. So mostly there are reckless people, reckless in their decisions, and usually they're women. I'm sorry for that to say, but mostly women. This 3 out of 4. If I read some statistics there, so are borderliners. So 3 out of 4 are borderliners, and they are reckless people having rapid mood swings, overreactive, and very sensitive to words. And they live self on a volcano of emotions. So they have mood swings, impulsiveness, mood control issues, but themselves they're very unhappy with themselves. They have self-hatred issues, and they have a full bomb of volcano, underlining volcano of unhappiness and emotions of the past in themselves, right? In this video, I want to go more into the past of the borderliner disorder. In 2 videos before, I talk more about the symptoms of borderliners. I will discuss with you also the symptoms of borderliner, but also hear more where it comes from, right? This behavior, why it's in the past, where it's going from there. So they have also page 5, multi-people personality. You don't know with who you talk now, so they change in their personality. Very interesting as psychologic reasons for me. But they have changing personalities. They can switch in their moods, they can switch in their personality, and sometimes you don't know with who you hang on the phone there, right? So changing personalities. Yeah, they are have a post-traumatic stress disorder, and that's something new. If you watched also my 2 previous videos about borderliner, and that is very relevant. The borderliner is suffering from a post-traumatic disorder, stress disorder, so PTSS, and that's something new for me. And because I also didn't know where it comes from, you heard some stories, yeah, sexual abusement in the past, and then all this behavior is coming up. Yeah, true, can be that there was sexual abusement in the past, or in the family it was going from. But here you see really it's a stress traumatic disorder. They're traumatized. So the people who are suffering for their BPS disorder are traumatic persons, are traumatized from the past. And they can be have youth issues with lack of trust. The parents were not nice to them, child abuse, neglect behavioral, distorted raising up, and then missing also identity. And that's also the cause of split personality. They can change in their personality easy because of self-defense, manipulative self-defense. So they can change in their personality. That's also because there was distortion in their upbringing. So they have to change their behavioral to please their parents, and then the father, then the mother, then the uncle, whatever, to change their personality quickly to get their attention there, or to do something good, and not sheltering under the child abuse, right? Not infected there with the child abuse. So constantly you're scary as a borderline person, that you get punched, emotional or physical, by your parents. And there are also the shift in your personality. So playing and manipulative attitudes were necessary to please your parents. So also there you see where the manipulative attitude is coming from, mostly as a self-defense technique for sheltering the child abusement. So chaotic family life, I wrote it down here. So probably the mother has also borderliner and is transferring the behavioral patterns to the daughter. Mostly women here, right? As the personal disorder, borderliner. So chaotic family life, no stability there. That is a cause of the borderliner disease, and also there the post-traumatic disorder. So borderline is traumatized person, so it can also be healed, right? You can heal your trauma. You can heal your traumatic experiences. So that's a new insight for me. Also, you see the Western psychology always say, okay, you have a disorder, you cannot keep some emotional control or stress reduction or impulsiveness control, but we can see now, okay, it's a trauma, so we can also treat it as a traumatic disorder, and that is another view of the healing process of the person with borderline. Impulsiveness, that's a very interesting symptom of the borderliner, very impulsive. There also hypersensitivity to physical touching. That's a very symptom. So if you touch a person, they don't like it, or they like it and they want to have sex immediately. So overreactive there in their impulsiveness, overreactive there in the physical touching. So those are symptoms of the borderliner. Splitting, we talked about it also in my past two videos. Splitting, the black-white thinking of the person in borderliner. Everything is black and white. And that is also a defense mechanism, right? If a borderliner feels not good by a certain person, she says, okay, it's a bad person. Not nuanced there, no, bad person, and she's protecting herself against potential negative behavior from that person. So the splitting is of course destructive for the relationship, because you're good and then bad, and then you're good and bad again. So you're like a ball in a relationship, right? You're good guy, bad guy. But also the splitting is, for her view, very important to shift the good guys and the bad guys in the outside world. The good car, the bad car, the good couch or the bad couch. So the splitting is also a kind of self-defense to protect herself, and that's very interesting to understand, that splitting is not something, okay, it is because she wants to hurt me or something. She's doing that because she wants to hurt me, but from her conditioning, from her fear conditioning, from where she's coming from, it is very logic in that fear conditioning that she split, constantly splitting. Oh, that's a bad meal, that's a bad restaurant, that's a good restaurant, because she's so afraid that she will be hurted by not the right persons in life, or she get bad food and she will feeling herself hours and hours because of her overreactiveness, feeling bad. Also the thoughts about the bad restaurant. So the paranoia is kicking here also in, right? So controlling, impulsiveness, and splitting are necessary, is a surviving state because of her fear conditioning. So if you understand why she split, why she's seeing you as a good guy and tomorrow as a bad guy, that's because she wants to protect herself, because she is very sensitive, and sensitive for physical touchings, but also sensitive in the emotional sense of life. Page 25, emptiness, loneliness. She's very empty herself, and she's probably also very lonely. Maybe she pretends to the outside world that she has a lot of girlfriends, Instagram, whatever, but deep inside, she's very lonely, she's empty, and she's probably no friends. So that's what I see in my stories too. persons with borderliners are very lonely, empty, and unhappy persons. Hyperactive, they're hyperactive, page 29, and they have racing thoughts. So they're quite smart people with BPS disorder. They're manipulative, they're smart, and their thoughts are racing. So if there happens an event, he linked the events to the past, and then you get a triangle of negative thoughts, and there the explosion is coming in their emotions, the paranoia is coming, and they're linking everything to each other. And there you see the paranoia and explosiveness of a person. If you say something bad, they're very sensitive for words, then the racing thoughts are kicking in, and she can be very explosive at that way from one and the other time slot. So very shifting in their emotions very, very quickly. They can be antisocial, and that's because of the no filtering. So she has no filter. So if she come into a store, or she say, okay, that flower is not nice there, or she's coming into the colleague's room and say, I don't like this dress. She's putting everything out there. So there's no filter there, and therefore there's poor social conditioning, poor social behavioral patterns, social functioning. So she's very difficult to handle. She's very outgoing in their thoughts, and then she's losing, of course, connection with people, and that causes also the fear of rejection too. So there's a circle there, right? So she's putting everything out because there's no filter, and then she's losing also the friends, and she's becoming lonely too. And there's also fear of rejection and testing mechanisms there to protect herself in the future. But that is, of course, is that a self-fulfilling prophecy. So she's fear of rejection, and she don't know where it comes from why people don't like me, why I'm rejected all the time, and that's because of the no filtering. And she's such an unaware person that she don't know that she has no filter there. So that's what you see a lot of times in the life of a person with the BPS. Very sad, right? It's very sad that she don't know why she's rejected all the time, don't know why people don't want to be with you, and you don't know why that is. That's very sad to understand there. Faking it. So that's what you see. She's faking a lot of things because she's such a way insecure that she wants to pretend that she's very secure for the outside world, and that she's the high value woman, that she is the social woman, that she is successful. And so a lot of women with personal disorder are faking things for the outside world, are manipulating the outside world, but they can be very destructive for you, and also destructive for themselves, and also destructive for your social environment. That's what you also see with the borderliner. Perfectionism is also a symptom of borderliner. Perfectionism, always be in control, always wants to have perfect, everything has to be perfect in control. Imperfection is a no word by a borderliner. Always be perfect, always wants to have the outside world perfect and in control. So that's also at any cost control. That's also a symptom of the borderliner. Always have control about the situation, about the person who is into it. Always have control. Page 106. Interesting. The borderliner have mostly an absent father syndrome. So the mother has most of the cases also borderliner. They clinch a little bit together there in the family dynamics, and she took over a lot of patterns there, but mostly an absent father syndrome. No one is saying, hey, you're doing something wrong, this and this and this. So no dominant father raising up techniques there. So she's probably loss of control, and also lost of controlling herself, or educated herself wisely from an external person. So that's what you see a lot in dynamics, in borderline dynamics. There was no father. There was not someone who corrects you. There was no raising up there. The absent father syndrome. And therefore she was clinching to the borderliner mom and took over the behavioral patterns there. And also, if you have no father, you have also a kind of loss of identity. So also the identity was there not fully evolved, right? You want to have a mother and a father, then your identity will be more and more whole. Fear of intimacy, that's also a symptom of the borderliner. Very fear of intimacy, very fear of connection in love life, in career life. And the fear is also related to the fear of rejection, right? So they're so afraid that that people reject them because they're so insecure. And then they create troubles, then they test other persons, test colleagues, test bosses, test love relationships, and there the self-fulfilling prophecy is kicking in, right? So fear of intimacy will be becoming worse and worse, mostly in the life of someone with borderline. Page 252, escape the family. This is something more Osho related, more spiritual relationship. I mean, if your mother have borderliner and she don't do anything about it, you want to go away from that negative point, right? So in the development, and you have no father, absent father syndrome, you have to think about if you want to stay in the family or stay in dynamics there to grow. And that's a very hard decision, I know. But mostly you can be stuck there, man. If you're constantly confronted with borderline and mom for all your life, then you'll never grow out of there. You'll never grow out of your personal disorder. So also there, take care who your surroundings are and if they're positive, if constructive or not. Page 254, and that is overtesting. And I talked with you already earlier about overtesting. And that's what the borderliner is constantly doing, testing you if she or you as a man are still loving her. So constantly testing is part of the strategy of a borderliner to protect herself, right? So that's what you see, protecting herself. She is very fear, she is very insecure, constantly test you if she or he is staying with you. So constantly test behavior. Is a very deep system of the borderline personal disorder, right? So talk with you a lot of symptoms about this disorder and understanding the personal disorder. I hate you, don't leave me, self-hatred, externalization, I hate myself, I hate you, I want that you go away, and then she will missing you and attract you again, right? So disconnection, connection, that kind of dynamics, a lot of relationships are going so with someone with a personal disorder. Yeah? So I hate you, I disconnect from you, and then I don't leave me, come here, I like you, don't leave me. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of intimacy, the fear of losing someone else. So that kind of behavioral patterns are in there, right? In the borderline disorder. A lot of information here, a lot of information. You always can call me, get a coaching session on my website to learn more about the personal disorder borderline for yourself, for your girlfriend, or how to handle a borderliner, how to solve it, how to heal it. You can always send me an email or WhatsApp me or make an appointment for a coaching session. Bye bye. See you by the next video. Hi.